Are we gonna start every episode with okay?
Yeah, okay, now we're actually recording.
No, you got my thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Then
fine, it's
no,
fine.
we'll start like that.
Okay, yeah. So I guess we start our sessions off with me fiddling with the recording device.
No, you always start with the mic test.
Mic test.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it's weird. You can't do a mic test if there's no one telling you if it's working or not.
Doesn't matter.
It does.
As long as we did it.
That's the spirit of a mic. Fine. All
Okay.
right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Downtime, dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're joining me. My name is Lance, and
My name is Toby.
yeah, for people who don't know us, I guess. So we're just a couple of dudes who like having chill conversations and talking about stuff that we love. Wait, let's put our phones in silent first.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Wait.
my phone is now
you
on
guys
silent.
think this is funny that we're putting our phones on silent, but this is take 3, so.
Oh man, you're being generous. Now they only think it's take 3.
Okay.
Okay, so the topic that we want to discuss tonight.
Is marvelous.
Wow.
What
Are
do
we
you-
really leading with that? So Toby and I went to watch Captain Marvel last week, and it was awesome.
Holy
and we
shit,
have a
was
lot.
that last week already?
It was already. Wasn't it a Wednesday night or something?
Fuck yeah, it was last week.
It was a Wednesday. It was literally a week ago.
About a week ago.
And then I watched it again last Saturday with my fiance.
Nice.
And I guess we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie, man?
Dude, what's it like? 20th, 21st movie now?
Oh, wait, sorry. Really important shit.
Yeah, what's up?
Spoiler alert, by the way. If you haven't seen the movie yet,
Oh, you want to start
Listen
with
to
no
us.
spoilers first, or?
or I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's kosher to start with no
Nah,
spoilers?
spoilers already, bro.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I guess we'll come up with a different format with no spoilers next time. But
Yeah.
if you guys want to watch the movie without spoilers, just come back
It's
to us
been a
once you're
week.
done.
We'll do that whenever we do an episode,
Okay.
the day after.
Actually, at the point when this thing is released, it might not just be a week after.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So if you haven't seen it by the time this comes up, it's
Then
your own damn fault.
It's your own damn fault, and you should probably buy a ticket to Endgame already.
Oh wow, yeah, this might be out by the time. Oh wow,
Yeah.
mind blown. Okay, sorry. So with spoilers, Toby, what did you think of the movie?
Dude, I feel like you can't talk about Captain Marvel without first talking about Captain Marvel. And Brie Larson does, I would say, a great job doing, making something out of nothing. I'll get into why I think that later. But I feel like her character out of everyone is kind of given the most to do, but they're moving too fast in the movie to settle on and really experience what sort of happens in the movie anyway. They're so focused with telling the story of catching up, because the whole MCU is going. You have 2 Ant-Man movies. You have how many, 3 Iron Man, 3 Captain America, and they're trying to put Captain Marvel up on this pedestal along with all of these heroes. Thor has 3 movies, and they're trying to put her up on this pedestal with all of these other super powered characters that we know and love, that they spend all this time trying to describe to you who this person is without kind of showing you who this person is.
That's true. It's kind of tough because in Endgame, where Captain Marvel is going to return, it seems like a lot of her chemistry with the rest of the group's heroes will be based on what they do there, and
Right.
they don't have any other form of media. Sorry, in the MCU, for them to fall back on to build a relationship.
Yeah.
Other than that, oh shit moment in the end credits.
Yeah, depending on how prevalent Nick Fury is in Endgame, I guess.
Well, there is a pile of ashes. Somewhere.
That would like to disagree.
he got snapped.
He got, oh yeah. Him and his one eye got snapped.
That's true. He lost so valiantly
So valiantly.
in the great battle of
Playing
playing with a cat.
with the cat. The last time I trusted someone,
Someone
I lost an eye.
Well,
So apparently,
yeah.
he trusted the cat.
Yeah. So overall, you liked the movie. You
Yeah,
enjoyed
no.
Brie Larson. How did you feel about the story, the pacing?
No, like
the
I
villain?
said, in terms of the pacing, I feel like they had issues because, well, it's sort of like the difficulty, the double-edged sword of playing like the amnesia story,
Yeah.
which is what they have here. It's an amnesia plot.
Yeah.
They start with her having no memories, and then they have this group, and you have like a solid, I would like to say, 20 minutes where you spend this whole arc on another planet, and everybody knows she's human. So, because they showed it in the trailer, so you're with this group and you know that it's not gonna last, but they don't make anything out of it. For 20 minutes, you have this group that's, I wouldn't even say charismatic. Maybe Jude Law has a thing.
Yeah. I absolutely love Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I felt that a lot of her jokes kind of fell a bit flat.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of the charisma was being carried by Goose and by Nick Fury. And the banter between Nick Fury and Captain Marvel.
I like that you said Goose. Goose is the cat, guys. Goose brought more charisma to the party than a lot of the characters in this movie.
Goose was the bard.
Goose
Was the druid bard. I don't
was
know.
the druid bard.
Or something. I don't know. Like,
And Captain Marvel is a paladin.
Yeah.
And she's as interesting as you think most paladins would be.
yeah. Actually, I disagree with that. I actually like Captain Marvel in this iteration because I don't think that she's supposed to be portrayed as like funny or sunny or like super like a Star-Lord character.
Uh-huh.
She's a no-nonsense, I'm gonna get back up because fuck you, versus, let's say, Captain America, who is like, I'm going to do this because I'm an indomitable force of what is right. Captain Marvel is just, I'm a badass, and no one can tell me otherwise.
No, okay, here. This is why I think, like, nobody RPs paladins with, like... Well, I'm not saying nobody. I'm saying
Yeah.
paladins are who they are because of their devotion to an ideal.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, usually, in, like, modern superhero movies, and Marvel has learned, you put the hero in between two ideologies that are usually opposing each other. Black Panther, I think you know what I'm talking about. Spider-Man, it's like, you know, like whether I'm a hero or whether I'm Peter Parker, all of that. Try to figure out in Captain Marvel what that tension is. Go ahead.
For me right now, there were a lot of themes that were explored, particularly those that cater. I felt like it was a love letter to girls who were told that they couldn't do something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly feel like they could have. I wanted them to explore these stakes a bit more. Like, you get all these shots of her standing up, and you have this scenario
In montages, by the
yeah,
way.
a standing up montage, and you have this best friend, Monica Rambeau, who I feel like gives her a pep talk, but
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to see more chemistry between them.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, where the tension is in terms of her ideals, I honestly thought it would have been like her trying to reclaim the life that was taken away from her, and her trying to set herself up as, I am Carol Danvers. It doesn't matter how many times like you screw with me. Like, I'm Carol Danvers. But the problem I had was, like, I didn't really feel like she lost 6 years of her life. She spent 6 years of her life in the Kree home world, and I didn't feel that dissonance.
That's interesting.
Right? Like, suddenly everything that you knew was a lie. And then, like, I didn't feel that moment where she's like, oh shit, I've been fighting and training with the people who took my life away for 6 years.
Well, one thing is, the age doesn't show on anybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you can argue that they're Kree or something. But yeah, you're right.
No, not even the Kree. Brie Larson, who is established as unaging because even in the post-credits shot, she looks the same. And that's like how many years after.
Okay, sorry, but what was the tension you were trying to pull out of me? Because, like, I feel like maybe I didn't touch on that.
No, exactly. Because, like, she's supposed to develop a rapport with her previous team. Right?
Okay.
But when she fights them in the end, you don't get any of that. There's no remorse. There's no, I'm sorry, guys. It's actually played up for laughs how much she beats on these dudes.
That's true. There was even this dude who pinned her down, put a gun to her head, and was like, don't make me do this. And she's like, I won't. Then she just blasts it.
Exactly. So it's like, so what's the point of spending all that time? So what's the tension here? Whether she's like going to be a hero, she looks like she enjoys being Captain Marvel that much. Like,
yeah,
yeah. So, like, in terms of the tension, the only thing that I could sort of like pick on is whether Kree or Skrull. But the way that they set it up is like it's an automatic decision.
Yeah. It's weird when they did the time skip where they said 6 years had passed, but they never developed that ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because it makes me wonder: has she gone on all these missions and killed a bunch of people?
Yeah.
In that time, or is this her first mission? Like
They make it sound like it's her first mission, though.
that's true. It does make it. Wow. Yeah, I didn't think.
Because
about
they're
that.
like, you gotta be cleared first.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you gotta do the mind thing. And after they do the mind thing, okay, you're good. And then they go on this mission, and they're acting as a unit, but it's been 6 years, and they're acting as if this is all new.
That's true. There was definitely a lot of exposition dump in that first part. But it's not really a bad thing. I think it's par for course for a Marvel movie to do something similar to that, wherein like when Thor uses the Bifrost for the first time, he's like, "This is the Bifrost that connects to all the realms and stuff." And then, like,
But really, you should just be opening the freaking thing.
he's been doing it for centuries, and then like of course there's some sort of narration that comes with it. So
Uh-huh.
I don't think Captain Marvel is solely
Breaking any law.
yeah breaking any molds.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
When it comes to Marvel movies, I mean, it definitely is a very different movie for a lot of reasons.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's a total badass, and
Yeah.
And-
Which is sort of like her, I would say that's as close to an arc as she gets.
yeah,
First, she thinks that she's this powerful, but really, she's more.
she's actually that was a bit of a issue I had. She didn't really. I know it's meant to be like a Carol Danvers versus herself sort of story,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel any tension in the fights because I knew, in my heart of hearts, she was gonna kick the shit out of every single person in that entire movie.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Given her power levels now and how she just basically sliced through an entire Kree ship in a matter of seconds.
And it wasn't like, okay, you guys need to understand. She didn't slice this thing as if she put her arm through it. She just flew into it, like,
Yeah.
almost wide-armed.
She was the bullet.
She was the bullet, and then the whole thing just split apart in front of her.
It makes me wonder if she's also invulnerable, actually. Like,
It probably has some amount of invulnerability.
throwing yourself at the ship and surviving the explosion that comes after that, you can survive a lot of stuff if you can
Okay,
survive that.
Let's put it all into like angles. Repulsor blast, MCU Iron Man,
Okay.
no problem.
What do you mean, no problem?
Like she'll take a repulsor blast to the chest.
Oh,
no problem.
definitely.
Definitely, right?
And she will return it 10 times over.
Let's put it up a notch. How about Mjolnir? Not Stormbreaker, Mjolnir.
She will definitely. Okay, I don't know how magic interacts with things in this universe, but they made Thor less magical in this
Yeah,
MCU.
yeah. I mean, like
Um,
he threw like like Mjolnir at a bunch of things, and it didn't like.
I honestly think that in this incarnation of Captain Marvel, she'll be able to just kick his ass because she is also worthy and be able to carry the hammer.
Oh shit!
I actually think she's worthy.
You think she'd do it?
she's a complete badass. And
She'll
actually,
do the vision thing.
Yeah, she'll probably do the vision thing. Not just that, but this is the first Captain Marvel incarnation, I think, that her powers are based on an Infinity Stone. She's literally charged by the Space Stone,
Yeah. Or the Tesseract,
the Tesseract.
right?
Yeah.
And when they pull that out, you're like I wonder how they're going to tie this in, quote unquote, to like the entire Avengers arc. And yeah, you have Nick Fury and you have Coulson, but like they'd be gone.
Coulson was an afterthought. Like he was just there for one point, be like, oh, I'm Nick Fury's bro.
Yeah,
They're not here, and then he's not.
Yeah, so they put the Tesseract in there, and you're like, you don't kind of see it coming, but when it comes up, you're like, shit, because they were making a light speed, right? Like they were trying to travel at light speed, and if you had to do that, you'd do it with the Tesseract. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was definitely cool. Though at this point, I would put her on. I guess the only other character that we know whose power is based on an Infinity Stone is Vision.
Vision,
Yeah, and
Scarlet
Vision
Witch
is,
by extension.
really?
Isn't it the mind gem is what gave her powers? MCU.
Wait, really? I
Yeah,
didn't know
because
that.
like they used the scepter to sort of experiment on like
Oh, I guess that's true.
that's why that she can do the whole. Remember,
Yeah.
that's why she's the only one who could destroy
the mind.
the Mind Stone.
But okay, I find that inconsistent because Quicksilver can move really fast, and that's what the Mind Stone did to him.
Yeah, that they definitely went roly poly on that. But
But Scarlet Witch has traditionally had chaos magic,
yeah,
and
no,
in the comics,
a mutant gene and then chaos magic.
yeah, but her mutant gene was also chaos magic because like even actually yeah, she has chaos magic, and Scarlet Witch is special. She breaks every law in the universe. She's the only in Avengers versus X-Men. She was the only force that could stop the Phoenix Force.
Yeah,
They needed to combine both her and Hope Summers' powers to stop the Phoenix Force for one.
man.
She also can break Infinity Stone.
Yeah, she's super strong,
She can break a freaking Infinity Stone.
and
That's
and
crazy.
she doesn't get enough like oomph for that.
I disagree. They should. I'm glad they toned her down for the movie because she has reality warping level bullshit in the comics.
That's fair.
She's not. She's literally.
She's basically-
She doesn't even need Infinity Stones. She just says no more mutants, and all the like 90% of the mutants are gone.
I know a lot of people are like Doctor Strange is a sorcerer, but he's a wizard, guys. And
Sure.
the thing is, he's a wizard, and Scarlet Witch is the equally highly leveled sort. Who's
Yes.
like, I have all of your powers, but I was just kind of born with it, you know?
Well, yeah, but
It's rough.
actually, that's a very good analogy because you can see how in the MCU she has her power seems to be more raw,
Yeah,
but
it's
less
more-
flexible.
I
Just
feel
like,
like,
just like a wizard.
I feel like in MCU, Scarlet Witch is just straight up
Just like a
kind
sword,
of
I mean.
telekinesis, kind of like
Telepathy.
telepathy, kind of telepathy. Not she's not communicating. She's just giving people like nightmares and shit.
She has plot powers.
She has, she has
All of her magic is based on what the writers need her to do.
yeah, no, well, she's never used the whole mind whammy thing since pretty much Age of Ultron.
Age of yeah, that's true.
I mean, she could have brought it out in Civil War, and that would have been great.
Yeah, but that being said, given acts alone, I actually think that Captain Marvel is the strongest character in MCU right now.
Right now,
I think
well, that's what they said. She's marketed as the most powerful Avenger.
that's true. I'm not sure how I feel about. I would have been fine with her being the most powerful before Endgame,
Uh-huh.
but this feels shoehorned sometimes. Like after all that development, after the initial failure, suddenly Captain Marvel pops in.
What are you talking about? Yeah, a development of the MCU.
Yeah,
Okay.
like it's suddenly like okay, suddenly there is a big gun that wasn't developed in time. It was always there.
Well, it depends. They have to describe or they have to show somehow in Endgame. This is how I would solve it. Is they have to show in Endgame what the fuck she was doing this whole time. You know what I mean?
For me, it's more of why would Nick Fury not call her for the initial invasion of Earth, or call her for for when Ultron attacked? Like,
Well, yeah, no, but that's Nick. I feel like the more, rather the better way of showing it, just showing how important whatever she was doing over there was.
I
Because
guess
like
that's true.
a New York attack was just like New York, but like maybe she was saving supposedly a whole race.
Okay, it was an alien invasion though. It was meant to wipe out humanity.
Okay.
And you saw what she did to those Kree ships in like less than 3 minutes of action. Like she just demolished everything.
Yeah, she could have. She's like the MCU Superman. If she came up onto the scene in Avengers 1, it would have been done in like 10 seconds.
Yep. So that being said, I actually think she can take on all the Avengers, just hands down. Although we haven't really established if Hulk follows the same rules as he does in the comics,
Oh,
where his power
Yeah.
is literally as mad as he gets.
as
know?
bad. There's no upper bound.
So yeah, so far there is no upper bound. He has literally cracked tectonic plates on Earth just by stepping on it.
Well, remember, in a straight up power fight, the 5 Infinity Gauntlets lost out to Thor and Stormbreaker. Well, that's what they made it look like.
Sorry, did you say 5 Infinity Gauntlets?
So stones.
Okay,
Stones,
yeah.
bro.
Sorry, I could not help it.
So like they showed very clearly enough
Yeah, that was weird.
that the 5 Infinity Stones lost out in raw power to Thor and the Thing. So like maybe saying that the big gun is now here is kind of weird because, I mean, he could have aimed for the head, but he didn't.
Yeah, actually, they did kind of give us an idea of how powerful the stones are. It's strong enough to kill half the people in the universe with a snap, but not strong enough to overpower Stormbreaker. So that's interesting, actually.
Right?
I actually don't. One thing I love about fights is if the rules are set, and you don't just ass pull random things.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Infinity Gauntlet has not been tested enough for us to see how powerful it is. It's done some cool shit.
It's done some cool shit. He went toe to toe with Strange, Iron Man.
He threw a moon at someone.
Iron Man.
A bunch of them, actually. But that didn't really phase them too much.
Yeah, just because they're powerful.
Yeah.
But it's still, you threw a moon, dude.
Threw a moon. And I think Carol Danvers can definitely shred the moon, given her binary powers.
If she's as strong as how Captain Marvel ended, then I'm impressed already. But if somehow she's grown in power, if you can try to think about that, if she's grown in power from Captain Marvel that's like set in like the 90s, and then it's like 20 years later, you have to imagine that she's gotten at least a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, she's had 20 years of experience
She's
using
had
her full power.
Right, and she's wearing the same suit 20 years later.
Ugh, actually, now that I think about it. but at the same time, like, yeah, she'll definitely be more powerful.
Yeah.
It would be really a waste if she didn't get more powerful. Okay.
Well,
sorry, yeah.
going back to
movie.
at least Captain Marvel.
Sure.
We've covered Brie Larson. We've covered the pacing. Just wanted to get your thoughts on how it stacks up against like other, because we're already talking about the other MCU movies, how it stacks up.
Okay. Before we do a major jump to... I think that while I enjoyed Captain Marvel, I wish that there was more tension. I think that Captain Marvel is unique in that it definitely brings up issues that doesn't always cater to us. Like, I actually want to talk about a few issues. It's sort of how it lines up to other Marvel movies, and maybe our ideas might be biased because we both knew going to that theater that Captain Marvel had a reputation even before it showed.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it stacks up against... before we talk about how it stacks up against other Marvel movies, I think it's important for us to add the preface that there was a lot of... the critics were basically saying that it was pandering to an audience. And
it had a target audience.
It had a target... Yeah, that's what the critics were saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what we think.
Yeah,
no. That's what the critics were saying. And that, people who love the concept were saying that the movie itself was being tanked by critics because of sexism and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard. You've got two groups, that's simplification, but you've got two groups that are coming at it with a bunch of, I would, kind of blatant bias. And then they're coming into it, they've got some biases, and they're sort of fighting over it online.
Yeah, there's a lot of preconceived biases. I honestly felt that when I watched it, I could really see how it explored themes that you normally don't explore when your character is male, when your main character is male. This is the first one, right? First Marvel movie that was, that centered around a
female
woman.
led.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it's interesting.
Closest being Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, but even then, like, this was clearly geared toward that.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
No, it's super good.
Yeah, I think it's great that the movie highlights that kind of story, Well, I have like...
Well, okay, here.
Yeah,
I'll try to help you out. It's great that they're writing that kind of story. how has that sort of perspective, like they're trying to like build up a female superhero, they're trying to like the first, well, not the first, Wonder Woman kind of like the first one who sort of broke the ice, if you know what I mean.
I get what you mean.
But like in terms of the MCU, if we have to talk about it in a vacuum, again, it's not a vacuum, but if we had to, if this is like the first female sort of MCU superhero, how did it change the plot? And if it was a guy, what would have been different? Just a
Alright.
thought experiment.
That's a really good way to put it, actually. I think that it changed things for like some critics and people who watch the show. Like people who are used to being able to relate to the hero because like most of the movies, well, they pander to men.
Yeah.
Because the main character usually it's usually a representation of the target audience, right?
Yeah.
In Toy Story, it's a kids show, but the main characters, Woody and Buzz, are both adult figures.
Okay, yeah.
And the analogy for that one would be that it's catering to the parents, because like toys, parents are responsible for the child's happiness, and after a certain point in life, and I don't mean this in a light way, are sort of discarded when they're not kids anymore. So parents and toys have that sort of parallel, which is why Woody and Buzz weren't like kids who were toys; they were adults who were toys.
They're adults who were toys.
So
Who were taking care of their kid.
Exactly. So the main character in this case being a woman, I think it alienated a lot of male audience members, but not in a bad way. I think this was a very good perspective to take on. There were a lot of things that were clearly issues that were brought up by people I've talked to online before. Like I have friends who get frustrated when people tell them to smile all the time. That biker scene where she just basically stole the dude's bike was one of them.
She commits so much petty crime in this movie.
That's true, but so do all the other characters that we've seen in other movies, right? So
Fair.
It's not really different. Like
Captain America stole a car.
Thor basically stole the whole getup, broke a bunch of mugs and stuff like that. I mean, he
Yeah,
did.
he did.
The Hulk does way more. He basically he's walking property damage.
Petty crime, bro. Like,
Well, okay, she also blew up a perfectly good like radio. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So it's not just that, but like, I think it's good, like for us to create this culture wherein like. Sorry, I know it's really weird. I guess
Nah,
I'm stuttering a bunch if I have to be super transparent, because like it's very easy to get into like mansplaining territory.
No, I mean,
You don't think so?
it is. Okay, wait. Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
It's because it's our show. We kind of are talking about it. But what's your take? Just what's your take?
On what?
And like I asked, like, what would have been different if it was a guy, and like because that they are using a female-led superhero, what directions did they have to take? I'll start.
Sure.
Traditionally, if you think about these movies, there's usually a female love interest.
That's
Because it's enough. Like you could go every solo, like not an Avengers, but every solo superhero outing in the MCU, and you could probably point towards a love interest,
Yeah.
right? It's almost formulaic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they toss them aside, no problem. Like Natalie Portman, not in the MCU. Who else you got? Like, who
Well,
else?
Pepper Potts is still there.
Pepper Potts is still there. Hulk's traditional, like the first Hulk movie still had
Betty Ross. Yeah.
and now she's gone. But
Yeah.
the dad's still there.
Yeah, they tried to do a Black Widow Hulk thing, but that had no chemistry at all for me.
It was okay.
It was, I don't know, it didn't really.
And then you have well, Captain America's Love Interest had a pretty good ending to the whole like mini arc. That she
Yeah.
died, right?
Yeah.
And then that was like sort of like what pulled him toward coming to action. That was good. At least that was good. It wasn't the whole like what was that? Was it Thor and who was having the dick measuring contest over girlfriends in Age of Ultron? It was Thor and somebody else. Oh, and Iron Man,
Okay.
right? You remember that?
Actually, I don't really.
Oh
But,
man, Iron Man goes, Pepper is like the CEO of Stark Company. She's built it, and then Thor's just like, yeah, and Jane's like studying on the Bifrost, has sort of broken ground and all of that, and then they had their thing.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Actually, one thing I could say to separate this from Wonder Woman is that Wonder Woman definitely had a love interest.
It did.
A lot of her motivation and her feelings moving forward, even,
and a lot of how she formed her opinion about man's world was Trevor.
Yes,
who is, I'm sorry, he's a great guy, but it was like she was lucky that she met Trevor. Could have been anyone.
That's true. It could have been a Nazi.
Yeah.
That's like Namor. First humans he ever met, Nazis.
Nazis.
This is my impression of humanity.
No, right? Exactly. So when you go back to Captain Marvel, because it was this female-led outing as the first one, I felt like that was one direction they had to go. I felt like somebody there was like, no love story. We're not gonna do that.
That's true. There's definitely a lot of very deep relationships between her and her best friend, and her and a couple of a mentor figure who wanted to take care of her, or had the best meaning for her, and a mentor who betrays her. You know, so those were the kind of relationships that she built up on, and I think that's interesting. How many other times have we had like a mentor figure in the Marvel universe who betrayed their, the person who they were mentoring?
Trying to think.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Maybe the closest thing is Obadiah Stane and like a Stone and like Tony Stark, but that's not really a
thing. You could see it a mile away.
That's true. I kind of wish they built up more on Monica Rambeau and
that's definitely the thing. I feel like if they limited it, I felt like actually if I had to watch the movie again, I feel like a director's cut would have more scenes of that, and I feel like a lot of it got cut out.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
I wanted more time of them being people, talking to each other and just talking about being friends rather than having a few cutaway shots. I felt that they didn't have as much chemistry, which is unfortunate because Monica Rambeau is actually a really cool Easter egg in that movie.
She's cool, and before you get into that, I know you want to get into that, but Monica Rambeau is in like every third shot in the trailer. And then in the movie, it's super. You think it's gonna be this big thing because she's like the best friend. You're gonna see them as a pilot. You're gonna see them, reunited. And then in the movie, it's like, to be honest, I wanted more.
Monica Rambeau is actually one of the people in the Marvel universe who also takes up the mantle of Captain Marvel.
Holy shit! How?
She's actually a superhero in her own right. Her superhero name is Spectrum, and she is ungodly powerful.
Okay, elucidate me.
Alright, so Monica Rambeau is a superhero heroine named Spectrum. She has the power to control and transform all kinds of energy.
Wait, shit, I know this one. Is she the one in like this disco outfit with like a black star? Oh my god, I love her.
That is her.
With the afro.
With the afro.
Oh shit.
And they tried to put her into stuff, but she's really obscure. So
but she's very clearly linked to Captain Marvel, or is that just in the movie?
I think that she definitely has a link to Captain Marvel, but I'm not the subject matter expert. I just know that her powers are ungodly. She can basically take on Iron Man and Thor. Actually, she took on Iron Man in the comics by turning off his suit's power. He converted she kind of siphoned all his electricity in the suit, and he's a guy in a tin can,
Yeah.
So she's actually one of the most crazy powerful beings
She basically
ever.
said, take away the suit, what are you?
Basically. She can actually take on Captain Marvel in her current incarnation in the MCU, I think. Because she can just take all the binary energy and just turn it into whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Monica Rambeau is cool. Like, I kind of wonder if they're going to take her character somewhere else, too. Yeah. Like, turn her into make maybe a spin-off movie, or basically, unfortunately, relegate her to being like a War Machine-esque character, being like a different shade of Iron Man. Oh, that sounded really racist, but like, but it's
different
sort of
shade, different meaning. We didn't mean it
I know that, but it sounds like it because it's like Iron Man, War Machine, Captain Marvel, Spectrum.
No, wait, but here's the thing: Spectrum in the MCU, and they could bring her back. They could, but she'd be 20 years older.
Oh, wow. Actually, you're right. I don't know how age would affect everyone consistently.
Right?
Wow, I guess Brie Larson. We can just say that Brie Larson just ages really well in this universe.
And just no, I feel like they're going the whole like she's basically a god now. Like Asgardians don't age, neither does she.
Yeah, it's just weird because she's human, you know. But I get it. I
Yeah.
guess the power getting infused by an Infinity Stone will do that.
We'll do that to you. And actually, visually, I felt like there were a lot of, and I'm not sure if this is true for like original Captain Marvel, like in the comics, but like visually, when I saw her, like, this is a weird way to say it, in combat, I got a lot of like Iron Man vibes. Did you get a lot of Iron Man vibes?
So wearing a suit,
well,
flies,
wearing a red suit,
shoots things out of her hands.
shoots things out of her hands, and flies by shooting things out of her hands.
She'd be Iron Man if Iron Man had martial arts skills.
Yeah.
She does a lot of cool moves like throughout the fights.
Yeah.
When she was like when her arms were still trapped in those cuffs.
Yeah.
Like she was doing some next level shit. Iron Man would not do that. He's a nerd in a suit. Like he has no combat experience at all. Like it was only after, in the comics at least, it's only after he met Captain America that he learned any real fighting.
Yeah.
And Captain America would still deck him. I mean,
He
obviously,
did.
repeatedly in both the
Repeatedly.
cartoon and the comic.
And the comic. And so that's one way to sort of differentiate. So like my thing is like Captain Marvel, at least power wise, shares a lot of similarities to, I would say, Thor or Iron Man. I mean, Iron Man, like Infinity War Iron Man wasn't a punk, dude. He was pretty strong, pretty
Yeah.
powerful. I feel not Captain Marvel level,
Yeah.
obviously, but I feel like he'd give her a run for her money.
I actually wonder if they're gonna do, like, in relation to what you said,
Yeah.
something like a power scaling thing like they did in Avengers 1. You know how Thor came back to Midgard and was like, I want Loki, and he had a small hustle with Captain America and Iron Man at the start,
Oh yeah.
where he blasted Iron Man and it absorbed, and the suit absorbed his electricity, and he hit Captain America's shield and the hammer bounced off. Like,
My
that
opinion, the best scene in that movie.
well, yeah, definitely. Like, it was clearly a power scaling thing. Like, how do these people match up to each other? Actually, it's interesting because I think Thor is
And
the
they
one.
answered the question: hammer or shield?
Well, shield, because okay, that's not fair because the shield displaces force while.
No, exactly. But like, you've seen the Unbreakable Shield and you've seen Mjolnir, and everybody's like, it needs to happen.
That's true, but
You need to find out.
We've established it, however, with Ragnarok that Mjolnir is not unbreakable. He got crushed by his sister's hand. But Thor is, it's interesting because Thor is the measuring stick for all the heroes.
Uh-huh.
Okay. He fought the Hulk. He's fought Iron Man. He's fought Captain America.
Captain America.
Like, he didn't fight the normies like Hawkeye and Black Widow, but he also had interactions with Doctor Strange where he felt out of place. Like, it felt
Yeah.
like Doctor Strange could deck him, you know?
Doctor Strange was punking him hard.
Yeah, he was punking him and his brother. Like, he's like Loki. He kept Loki falling for 30 minutes.
No, that was amazing.
That
Because
was
it was like
awesome, yeah.
Loki was all like, "Oh, so Earth has wizards now," or like basically to the same effect. And then you're not even in the same league, dude.
Yeah.
Take a seat.
That's true, which is interesting because in the comics now, Loki had a stint as Sorcerer Supreme, but that's going super off topic.
Well, wow, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And yeah, they're doing a lot of Infinity War stuff right now to promote Endgame. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
Captain Marvel.
Okay, so other stuff. How do you feel? Are you familiar with Secret War?
Yeah, some degree.
How do you feel about the Skrull and how they were portrayed in this movie?
Oh, you mean they're the good guys?
I wouldn't say good guys. It's more like they're an oppressed group. We
Well-
don't know if they started it. We don't know if they're bad guys. It never explored
Batman,
that.
but they're definitely the less proactive in violence, and that's usually sort of like the measuring stick here. You
That's
know what
true.
I mean?
Well, they're on the run. We
They're
don't
on the
know
run.
if they started it.
Yeah, but they're for the purposes of Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're the good guys.
Yeah. So they're, yeah. Go ahead.
What's
Sorry.
up with the Skrulls? I don't know. They set up some rules in Captain Marvel. Like they flat out said not everyone can do it. You know what I mean?
No,
They
they
had
said
that conversation where it was like
no, everyone
biologically every Skrull
can do it.
Can do
so
it,
everyone can do it.
but it requires
Talent.
talent, practice, and all of that thing.
Okay, that's true.
And then they receive the short-term memories of whoever they turn into, something like that.
That's an interesting distinction. It's definitely different from the comic in that sense, but it's a good. I liked it.
Okay,
I
how's
love
it different?
Okay, in the comic there was no. I don't think there was any real distinction because in the comic when the Illuminati was formed, which is basically Professor Xavier, Reed Richards, Iron Man,
Black
T'Challa,
Panther, yeah.
Black Bolt,
Namor.
yeah, Namor.
It's
I
pretty
think I'm
much
missing
it.
someone. I feel like I'm missing someone, but okay, whatever.
One more time. Professor X.
Professor
Namor.
X, yeah,
Mr. Fantastic. Black Bolt.
Black Panther.
Black Panther. Namor.
You already said Namor.
Oh shit. Damn it.
Alright, you said Namor twice.
Namor. Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Bolt. Professor X. Reed Richards. Doctor Strange.
There we go. Alright, that's 6 of them. Alright, perfect. So what happened was the Skrull captured them and took all of their technology and abilities.
Yeah.
And made it so that none of them had the capability of detecting who the Skrulls were.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So what happened was even if you're a telepath, it reads the person's mind and it's exactly them. Check their DNA with whatever science, whatever, and it's still them. You can use magic, it's still them. So this one gives a but that was more of like comic logic bullshit for me. So I love the caveat that they gave that the Skrull only inherited short-term memories. So it creates these little cat and mouse games, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they. I'm not sure they didn't try Captain Marvel, but it doesn't look like they gain any powers. They're just spaceman strong.
Yeah.
With a bit of kung fu, I guess, for like the warriors, but like other than that, they're all like pretty much.
Yeah. It also shifts the universe, a lot of the mythos in the MCU a bit because in the comics, the Kree and the Skrulls were both equally powerful empires that were constantly at war.
Yeah.
So you're flipping the script here. You're not gonna have Secret Invasion anymore, or Secret Wars anymore, rather, because the Secret Invasion, sorry, because the Skrulls will not. I don't think they'll invade Earth, and take up people's identities.
Yeah.
When they appeared in the Captain Marvel trailer, everyone assumed that we're gonna do Secret Invasion,
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural conclusion.
Yeah, but they're definitely not doing that anymore. Lest it look really horrible if you're fighting a bunch of like space refugees who are super oppressed, and then they're the bad
that's
guys.
the Guardians got right now.
The what?
Those Guardians.
Yeah, but they're not the villains. Like,
Yeah, no,
what if you vilify them?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that'll
like,
be sick.
It would be.
They should do that.
They should do that.
They should do
obviously.
it. Like, as Guardians land on Earth and they're like, you can only stay in this spot. And they're like, bro, I'm like worth 100 of you.
It'll be kind of funny if they do what they did in the comic, where the Asgardians inherit a small plot in Oklahoma, like they did. they rebuilt entirety of Asgard flying on top of Oklahoma. But okay, sorry. Back to Captain Marvel.
Back to Captain Marvel. Okay, apparently, I'll shoot something at you and you tell me how you feel about it.
Sure.
People are saying Cap's gonna die in Endgame, and Captain Marvel's gonna take his spot as like the leader. How do you feel?
I'm okay with that.
Well, there's okay, and I want to see that. So which one is it?
Okay, the reason I say I'm okay with it is it's hard for me to form an opinion because I haven't seen how her chemistry works with the rest of the team yet.
Well, yeah.
Captain America has had a lot of really cool moments with all the other Avengers, and she'd have to fill his shoes.
Pretty big shoes.
Yeah, not because he's like a dude or the leader or whatever, but because he has so much more rapport with everyone else.
Yeah, and she's untested as a leader.
That's true.
Actually,
That's true.
Captain Marvel almost makes a point to show that she's kind of lone rangering it up.
That's true. She's a loose cannon for sure.
Yeah.
I'm holding my opinion until I watch Endgame. I want to see if she has a lot of chemistry with the rest of the team first.
Yeah, no, and actually it's more of like one, chemistry, and two, more important for me is knowing that there's probably a better fit in the position of, I don't know, Black Panther, or maybe even, God forbid, Thor.
To be the leader?
Yeah, dude.
I don't want Thor
Bucky is like narratively making sense, but it's not, looking good right now.
You think Iron Man's gonna bite dust, I guess?
Well,
Iron Man is also a decent fit.
Iron Man's a decent fit, but I feel like his arc's done. That's my thing.
Okay.
If he doesn't die, he'll retire.
For me, I wouldn't want Captain Marvel to lead the team because I think that her scale is cosmic. I think she's a better fit for the Guardians.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
yeah, space faring and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's make her the head of a team that fights over legislation on Earth.
Well,
She's doing
one,
way-
she's human, but also two, in Captain Marvel, they gave her some strong Guardians of the Galaxy tones.
I think they tried. They tried really hard to go. This is another nostalgia trip, but like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that vibe as much
Yeah.
because Star-Lord was actually nostalgic for the 80s, you know. But Brie Larson was alive in the 90s, so it had a different nostalgia effect.
Oh damn! Wait, yeah, that.
I-
You're right, man. Like, basically, Peter Quill was a kid in the '80s, right?
Yeah.
So which means in his 30s in present, quote unquote thing.
Yeah. So Brie Larson is an adult in the 90s, meaning I don't think the music that she's listening to have the same effect as the music she listened to when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Like us, like we were born in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
So the music that resonates with us would a lot of times be from the 90s.
Yeah.
But aside from the point, I think she'd be a better fit for the Guardians, given the scale of the things that she does.
It'd be
She's
interesting.
way too important and powerful to just be stuck on fucking Earth.
But traditionally speaking,
Traditionally, she's an Avenger.
she's an Avenger, and it would be interesting if I'll give you another one where it's like she fills up Thor's role in Avengers and Thor becomes the Guardian.
I don't like it because Thor isn't human. I actually want Guardian?
Yeah.
Actually, that
That's-
kind of works.
Yeah, no, because that's what
But-
they did.
Yeah,
in
but
Infinity War.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Carol. Okay, Carol Danvers has the Green Lantern-esque kind of vibe.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I wish that she would, not waste her time in some backwater planet. I kind of want to see her fly and visit other cultures and stuff. And when she comes back to Earth, she's gonna be the one who's like, guys, stop fighting over stupid fucking legislation. There are bigger threats out there, like the Annihilation Wave. Like, there's so many story arcs that Marvel hasn't.
Oh,
really
she's gonna
explored yet.
be the new Thor. Because Thor in Age of Ultron was like, there's the Infinity Stones and something's going on.
But I think Thor is more like history and mysticism,
Uh-huh.
while Captain Marvel's more like cosmic.
Well, right now they're in Cosmic, definitely.
That's true. But yeah, that's why I would be fine with her leading the Avengers.
Yeah.
But I'd really rather her be leading like an intergalactic team.
Well, for me, it's more of like, yeah, Captain Marvel's a badass. Like, definitely a
Yeah.
badass. But she hasn't sort of proven herself to be, like, in my opinion, in the MCU, somebody who you should be listening to.
Why do you say
I mean,
that?
in the vein of like, if I were to convene a meeting, right?
Oh, she hasn't built that rapport yet.
Not just the rapport, it's just like she's not like a mind in the way that you'd call Tony Stark, or I'd even say Doctor Strange or Captain America, or, like she doesn't represent anyone in this sort of like, you know what I mean? She's kind of just like in no man's land. She doesn't bear the voice of anyone, nor does she have sort of like, I would go as far as say, anybody's best interests in mind.
I kind of disagree. I think that she actually showed that she has Earth's best interest in mind. The fact that she left a pager for Nick Fury despite being out there, she would definitely be the representative for like space related shit. The Guardians are cowboys.
Actually, no. And here's my
What?
This is I set you up, you little.
What?
This was my argument.
What?
Because wherever she was, the snap happened there too.
Yeah.
So the snap happened there, and she couldn't have thought that it happened everywhere.
Maybe-
She gets this page, and she's like, "I'll head there and not fix this."
That's true. I actually don't know what to think of that because I think she should have known the snap happened.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. She did go back to Earth instead of fixing whatever she was fixing. That's interesting. That's really interesting. But I do think that she's an authority, like not, but in a different way from everyone else.
That's really what I was going for. She's not like authoritative. Yeah, like you could have T'Challa in the same room as like, everybody who else I was talking about, and they'd be council-ish.
Okay, honestly, if Brie Larson, who was not only was the namesake of the Avengers, and was traveling in space.
that Easter egg. Let's talk about that in a bit. But yeah,
And was traveling through space, kicking alien ass for 20 years,
20 years.
and has a perspective that's literally the Earth is so goddamn small.
Yeah.
I would fucking listen to her, man.
you know what? That's interesting. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see how they change her RP for Endgame. Seeing as you're like, you look the same, but you're 20 years older. But like for Brie, she's recording this back to back, right? She's acting this out back to back. So whether or not she like takes the same, stance and mannerism and brings the same character into it, that's up to her as an actress, I would say, to reflect in her acting the difference 20 years can make to a person.
That's true. I actually want to make a movie where she faces off against Galactus.
I feel like she could take him.
Depends what they do with Galactus.
Depends what they do with Galactus.
Because he's supposed to be crazy powerful.
Yeah, Thanos is maybe on the same scale.
No, Thanos can beat Galactus with the Infinity Gauntlet, but without Infinity Gauntlets or Infinity Stones and stuff, without those, because the Infinity Stones break rules,
Yeah, okay, fine.
It's basically an I win button.
Here. Thanos versus Silver Surfer. I'm not sure if this has
happened
happened
literally in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. Thanos kills everyone.
Well,
He
without
beats
the
everyone.
without the Infinity Gauntlet, how's he stack up against Silver Surfer?
I think he can beat him.
So he's definitely up there. Yeah.
He's definitely up there. Thanos is, by himself, even without the gauntlet, is really powerful.
Really badass.
Which is why I think that I'm so excited to see Captain Marvel fight Thanos. Because
I'm really excited for that.
because we've only ever, but what I don't like is we've only ever seen Thanos with the gauntlet and with the stones.
Mm-hmm.
I would have really loved to see a Thanos without the stones just kicking ass.
Well, supposedly, and this is sort of getting into like Endgame territory, not like we've respected the line during this whole episode, but like the gauntlet got fucked up when he snapped. So it's still sort of, in the air if it's functioning at full capacity or whatever.
I don't know. I think it should still work.
And like I get that you want to see a fight between Captain Marvel and Thanos like fully powered up, but most of the sort of news footage that we're getting, and I don't want to get too spoilery, but it seems like they're doing time travel.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but then that would mean that she doesn't fight against a fully powered up Thanos, wouldn't it?
Well, maybe they could fight then time travel. I don't know.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, dude, time travel means the sequence of events doesn't fucking matter.
Oh shit!
Yeah. but like, I'm also excited to see Hulk come back because Hulk. I didn't feel like he went full power.
His first fight against Thanos wasn't like Hulk yet.
Something will really piss him off this time. I feel like something's really gonna piss him off, and he's gonna go crazy levels of power.
You think we're gonna see like World Breaker Hulk?
Oh man, I can only wish. But like in the comic recently, they're doing a run of the Hulk called Devil Hulk or Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
He basically breaks Thor's arm in one slap. He beats Captain Marvel to the ground. Like they're actually developing a lot of characters, and Captain Marvel's power level is inconsistent.
Uh-huh.
We've even had a story recently where Namor took on the whole Avengers team underwater.
I'm actually like following that on Comic Story.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Comic Story this shit. Yeah, the one where he breaks Thor's hammer.
Yeah. And it's like, why is he so powerful? But like, yeah.
Well, I think they're trying to make Namor relevant again because maybe there's going to be a Namor movie. Who knows? He'd actually be kind of cool.
Be kind of cool.
He's also very different from Aquaman.
But I want to get into that.
Because Namor is an asshole. And he's not afraid of it.
Yeah. He's a capital A asshole.
Yeah. And he has a catchphrase.
It's the best one
It's
ever.
the best. Actually, it's my favorite catchphrase in Marvel. So.
We'll wait till it's done justice before we talk about it.
Yeah, fine. I guess there's a lot of movies in April. Captain Marvel was a great way for us to get hyped up with Endgame again.
Yeah.
I mean, an hour's almost up. How would you rate it out of 10? And how would you rate it against the other movies, I guess?
Okay.
Like, going back to your question earlier.
Yeah, okay. How does it stack up?
Yeah.
It sadly does not make my top 5. Top 10 for sure.
Okay,
Not
but
top
what
five.
is a 10 out of 10 for you, and what would this be?
Okay, 10 out of 10 is difficult. 10 out of 10 for me, since this is our first sort of review, I'll try to break it down.
Sure.
10 out of 10 is the perfect movie.
Right,
That
but
means
what-
you can't add any more points.
Do you have a 10 out of 10?
I would say The Dark Knight.
Okay, all right. How about in the MCU?
In the MCU,
No.
closest would be Winter Soldier, I guess.
9 point something, I guess.
9.5,
Oh
maybe.
wow, okay.
Like 9.5. Is it a 10?
Okay.
Is a 10. I'll have to think another time about that. It was 9.5 and my favorite so far.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you're giving this one a...
I'm giving Captain Marvel a solid 7.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. Definitely top 10 because there's a bunch of 8s and 9s,
Okay.
but definitely it's in there.
All right, I would give it an 8. I loved it. It was such it was a fucking ride all throughout. And she kicked so much ass,
She kicks so much ass.
and she defined a lot of the Marvel universe just with like one movie.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I like the movie. I think it has pacing issues, and my own honest critique is I wish she had a villain that made me like sweat, or that that gave me a little bit of tension because I knew she was
Dude,
gonna win. From
here's the
from
thing.
start.
All right, so if you had to take villain and plot together, that's deducting 1 point for me.
You see, we score differently.
Yeah.
For you, it's from 10 to 0.
Uh-huh.
For me, it can be it can be a 10 even with flaws if it's so fucking amazing despite its flaws.
Like some Fast and the Furious movies, I'm sure.
Actually, no, I never watched a single one of those.
Damn.
Funny enough.
But like, for example, Captain Marvel. One of my things is like, if you've seen just the recent movies, right? You've seen like Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther. I'd throw in Infinity War and no, I'm trying to make a point. So it's like Infinity War and Homecoming. In terms of like the color palette and the sort of, you know what I'm talking about, the way that they use the film and it pops.
Sure.
Just actually, Thor Ragnarok's the perfect one because like the main complaint, well, one complaint about the MCU early on was that it's gray. You know what I mean? They're not
Really?
using a lot of color. Yeah.
Okay. Thor Ragnarok.
Watch back, like, I would even say Iron Man 2.
Okay. Thor Ragnarok was great for me because of the nerd glasses and not really because of the movie.
Uh-huh.
It showed me a lot of shit I wanted to see, and it finally did Thor fight scenes justice. Dark World was garbage. The original Thor movie did not do it for me, but this one did. The opening scene where he basically wrecks a bunch of like Surtur's dudes was already like sold me on the movie. I'd watch it like 3 more times over just because.
Like when he's monologuing to himself. This is the best shit.
Yeah, they made him definite, but he was having too much fun, which is my flaw.
No,
Which is the flaw of the movies.
What I love about Thor Ragnarok is they never did it that way, but it took one, Chris Hemsworth's natural charisma as a comedic actor that he's shown in small scenes in Thor 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and they're like, that's really good.
Well,
Do that.
It's a different director too.
It's a different director.
Yeah. So, given how it's stacked up, like for Camille, my fiance, like
Yeah.
she gave it a 6. She gave Captain Marvel a 6 out of 10, and for her a 10 would be Guardians of the Galaxy
Shit, Guardians of the Galaxy
Volume 1,
pretty
which
good.
is fucking amazing.
Fucking good. Which is why, like, the top 10 is a highly packed and like venerated list.
Yeah, like I think one of Camille's comments and why it was a 6 was she didn't like Brie Larson's acting. She thought that she didn't have personality.
I saw this video where it played back a bunch of not even just in the trailers. Where it showed Captain Marvel or Brie Larson saying a bunch of her lines, and you're like, when you realize how often they're the same tone, you're like, shit, this is kind of something that I can worry about. I didn't feel it, but when you hear it all together, you know.
But it's not meant to be taken that way.
Well, yeah.
Right? It's not meant to be taken as monotone. It's supposed to be in the context of the scene. So, and for me, that wasn't really a problem because Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is just no nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there are a lot of really cool characters out there who weren't very expressive, and Captain Marvel could just be one of them. You know,
Coulson,
I guess.
classic example.
Coulson, fine, but like,
What you think?
I guess like it would have been nice to also see what kind of music did she. Actually, it kind of showed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's her quip, and I guess sort of. I don't know. I didn't have a problem with that.
Okay, so I went with a 7, and you went with an 8.
Yep.
Let's talk about what would have brought it over. What would have brought it up to a 9, maybe, and then what we want to see moving forward in maybe Captain Marvel 2, or at least shorter term Infinity War.
I think a lot of the charisma was carried by Nick Fury and Goose, and I wish that Captain Marvel or Brie Larson had a little more involvement with most of those scenes. She tried to crack jokes, but you get what I mean. Like when she cracked jokes, like the audience didn't laugh with her.
Like, you see that? That's a plasma ball.
Yeah,
They can't do that.
Yeah, I know, but like it felt flat.
Yeah.
Like there's just something about it that wasn't funny.
Yeah, exactly. But was it delivery or was it writing? Because
I think
one or two things.
Brie Larson's a great actress. I think it's what she took what she was given.
Definitely, I feel like it was writing in this case.
Maybe, yeah, likely. Okay, what would make it a 9 or a 10 for me? Better villain.
Yeah.
More reflection, more tension. The Super Skrull. Well, if the Skrulls were the villains, a Super Skrull would have been interesting. Galactus would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe
in the 90 as well, that would have been sick.
Yeah, I actually don't know if the Kree have any super soldiers. I actually don't know much about the Kree. Maybe
they tried the something with Ronan the Accuser.
He has no powers though. Like he's just some dude though.
He's just some dude.
Like I kind of just I don't know. Oh, maybe Moon's. I forgot her usual villain's name. Moon something. Moonstone or something like that. But I kind of wish that she had a stronger villain. She had, and that there was. They didn't just hand wave the 6 years of serving in the Kree military to nothing.
Right, because they set up Jude Law as Marvel. That's what his classic Marvel is. That and then he ends up being the villain, and Marvel is like
Lawson,
who you never see using powers.
Well,
right?
Yeah, but that's okay, which is fine by me, man. I guess. Well, how about you? Like, what would you say is what would propel it to
for me? I docked point for style because it seemed like a very I heard this in a bunch of reviews and I share it. In terms of style, it's a very what did they call it? The first wave until Avengers movies.
Phase 1.
It was in terms of style, it was very phase 1. And I felt like after Captain America's Winter Soldier, they'd solved a lot of their issues with fight choreography, but they had those issues here.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's already two things. So style, maybe how they framed and made action scenes. A lot of the time you couldn't really tell what was happening. For me, in terms of the action scenes, plot and writing could have been great, but I won't dock points yet for acting and that brings me to a 7/10. I won't dock points for acting because I feel like what she was given she rolled with, she made it believable, she made it, I would even say, empathetic, because you could feel the character going through her arc. You could feel the character being sad that a lot of her life has just flown away because of this amnesia. And when she gets it, she properly feels remorse that the Skrull. I mean, again, it's not the classic way, but she properly feels remorse that these Skrull people are going through what they're going through. The only thing I feel like would have brought that thing I would have added a 0.5, is if she was actually remorseful that she had to fight, quote unquote, her teammates for 6 years.
Yeah, they kind of hand wave that a bit. Yeah, that was weird.
And the last scene where she fights Jude Law was a bit too campy.
Also, I don't know why they would bring her to the Supreme Intelligence after capturing her.
Oh, yeah.
That was weird. I don't know why they do that. I thought they just shoot her or something.
Well, yeah. Well, I feel like it was their way of sort of holding her down without holding her down. I felt like it was okay without power dampeners or some sort of like really powerful chains. That was the only kind of way they had to maybe lock her down.
But that's weird. Like, I didn't even feel. I would assume they capture her so they could extract information on the core.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the core already, right? They have the Tesseract,
Oh yeah, they did.
and they didn't need her for anything. Why would the Supreme Intelligence need to taunt her?
Well, that goes into actually one of my biggest gripes with this movie.
What?
Which I'm saving for the last, apparently. A lot of her problems she solved by, and I'm mimicking another review by saying this, but she solved a lot of her problems by just being stronger. Like,
Okay.
she's got cuffs on her hands. She can't blast them off. What does she do? Blast them off anyway, just by sort of forcing it.
I think that's fair though for an origin story. Because the origin story is usually where you establish how powerful a hero is. It's after that, like, you
Yeah.
know, the sequels that usually show you this hero is powerful, but blah.
Okay.
But even in all the other origin stories, like Captain America's or Thor's or Iron Man's, like, actually, you could argue that Thor just overpowered, like, the Odin's armor.
Well,
right? in one.
Yeah, that was a problem with the first two problems. Well, the first one, he made a sacrifice. He destroyed the bridge. And then the second one, yeah, he totally beat that one. That's like a dumb writing thing. Like, he needed to use science to beat the dude, right?
Yes.
In number 2. But in number 3, he went back to sacrifice, where he like destroyed all of Asgard to get to win.
We could talk a whole bunch about Thor Ragnarok, but yeah, okay, I see what you mean. But
What did she sacrifice in this movie?
who?
Captain Marvel.
Well, she had to. Yeah, I guess no one died. No, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of unfair that things just worked out.
Well, she sacrificed a life on Earth to do her quote-unquote duty, paladin. But, you know, that's her decision to make.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting also because, like, a lot of the movie is about not being tied down, like what Monica's daughter told her about setting an example for her. I personally, maybe it's the Asian in me, but like,
Yeah, go ahead.
it sounds irresponsible as hell. Like, if my kid told me that, I'd be like, if I died in this mission, no one would take care
Yeah,
of
I
you.
remember that scene. I was like laughing, like, what are you doing, kid? Like, no kid talk like that.
Okay, like, this might sound really unfair, and this might sound super sexist and shit, but I'm gonna say it. If Monica had a partner or like a younger set of guardians besides her parents to take care of her kid, I think I would have been more okay with that. But if you're a solo parent and this kid is literally, you know,
You're all she's got.
you're all she's got, and then you're gonna go on this dangerous mission, I think that's well, maybe it's because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe if I had a kid and I was the only one raising him or her, like, I would not do that.
I felt weird about that until I realized that they're literally Air Force pilots, and they're sort of, you know, like, you don't. It's like they're wingmen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. They could have at least RP'd a little bit more, like, yeah, I don't know, did they say Semper Fi? But like they're military, so they lay their lives for one another.
Yeah, I guess I know what you mean, but I think it's playing on the whole idea of the very prominent single mom. Like, because, okay, like I said, I feel like this movie can't just be reviewed or taken out of context of gender, you know?
Yeah.
So clearly, Monica Rambeau is sort of a stand-in for single mothers who are taking care of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And
She's not stand-in. That's what she is.
no, she's sorry, that's the one that, when I say stand-in, I mean she's the one who they relate to.
Okay, gotcha.
And then Carol is the stand-in for, you know, girls who always felt like they needed to prove something.
Right, and Nick Fury is the stand-in for the audience, actually, in this movie. In a more general sense, she sees more of what happens. He's the one who gives color reactions to things like, "Whoa, it's a cat!" Then, "Whoa, it's not." You know,
That's
like,
true.
He's the There's always that dude like that.
I think that Nick Fury, if we were to look at this from a gender perspective, again, could be mansplaining, but these are my thoughts.
Yeah,
like,
go.
Nick Fury is sort of a stand-in for how a male sidekick can support like a female who is the the lead.
Mm-hmm.
He's always there, but he never steals her thunder. He's always supportive of her, and is like I think reasonably doubtful of her when she first appears.
Dude, that's pretty good actually. I feel like that's a reasonable RP for that role.
Yeah, like that's how I feel about it. There's also a lot of sorry, I know we're over time, but like I want to explore the theme of
Go for it.
the Kree always telling you to be logical and stop being so goddamn emotional all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of mirrors a lot of what girls hear, like they're too emotional and shit.
Like you're being crazy.
Yeah, and I think this movie was very on the nose about that. What do you think?
Well, okay. If we're gonna try to do this apples to apples,
Sure.
in Wonder Woman, they do the same thing. You have a coat of hard-headed protagonist who's trying to be told what to do, and you're just like, no, 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 we have to do this, we have to go there, because this is what I believe. And sort of the same here.
Okay.
I feel like that makes it mean that's a story that would resonate. Again, they're both directed by female directors. I believe both written also. So I feel like that's sort of something that they can both resonate with. Where it differentiates, I would say, is probably just the role of like the supporting male lead.
That's true.
That's one, and sort of how they get to their sort of beliefs. Other one, yeah, like definitely it's Wonder Woman. It's Steve who brings out the best in her, right? In this one, I would even say it's
Monica?
yeah, it's Monica.
I wish they showed more of that. I
Yeah.
really do.
It's like that scene where she's like my best friend who's brave, and her name is Carol Danvers, and they lead up to it and they put the music in and they do the thing, but it's not landing as hard as I wanted it to.
Yeah, there's something about the delivery or the setup that didn't really build up to it.
Yeah.
But I wish they explored it more.
Like when she goes, "You're right, I am like that." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a bit much.
Yeah, like Bucky Steve Rogers, I think, had a lot of build up. And there were so many stakes when Bucky suddenly went batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I wish they did that with Monica. They had more scenes together.
Yeah.
It would have been really nice to see that build up actually.
No, it's really like Captain America. Sorry, what I mean is Captain Marvel doesn't hesitate. Well, when she does, it's kind of fabricated.
What do you mean?
Like Captain America, just before he went to fight Bucky, he sees Bucky, he hesitates. Spider-Man walking up to like the Vulture, hesitates. Hulk going up to Loki, always hesitates. Like you need to have that moment where it's like they have that feeling where it's like, am I actually right here? And I'm going back to what I said earlier about like tension in terms of like ideology. In this one, it's like she's deciding whether she'll fight, and then the other person saying, well, you have to because that's who you are. But because she's an amnesia, she doesn't have like a base of self to fight that,
I guess.
other people's influence. And she agrees. And when she gets to the fighting, it just goes. She doesn't think of any alternative. It's just, let's fight.
Okay. Alright, that's interesting. Well, that was definitely an interesting movie, and I'm super goddamn psyched for Endgame.
Yeah. So, the post-credit scenes, there are two.
Yes.
As
As is tradition.
now, apparently. So the first one was the first one the cat?
No, that was the second one. The first one was when the beeper finally gave out.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
the pager.
Let's just talk about that before I feel like
Oh,
this
was
is
it
prop-
beeper? It was a beeper.
It was a beeper, bro.
Okay, beeper.
She can upgrade random shit, right?
Oh yeah, she's like a tech expert too.
Yeah. So in the first post-credit scene, you have the Avengers who are artificially powering up, right? Like they bypass the battery on Nick Fury's pager.
Sure.
And then they don't even know what it's doing. They don't even know who it's contacting. They just kind of trust Nick Fury.
Yep.
That when this happened, for some reason, Nick Fury and Maria Hill disappeared, but they found him and knew that it was his shit.
Yes.
Right? For some reason. Whatever. So they found it. They were like, this is important. Let's make sure it keeps going. And then they're talking amongst themselves. And then next thing you know, Captain Marvel's there.
It also makes for an interesting comment on how much time has passed since Infinity War, right?
Well, what did you see? We saw the count. We saw the death, quote unquote, death count.
I think it wasn't the death count. It was more of, it was the death count. Yeah,
it was the death count, right? It was still going up.
So, I actually don't know. My interpretation is that the MCU works in the same timeline as the real world, where an X number of years has passed since the last thing that happened. So maybe it didn't explain what they were doing in the 2 years that the time skip, you know?
Hasn't been 2 years since...
Was Infinity Wars last year?
Last year.
Oh shit, it's only been a year.
Yeah, man, not even.
Marvel is insane. Do the actors even rest? Like, Brie Larson was filming 2 movies at the same time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus Christ.
Spider-Man was filming pretty much 3 movies at the same time.
Jake Gyllenhaal, though, as Mysterio is.
We'll get into that, bro.
We'll watch that together, too.
Yeah, so that's the first sort of like post-credit scene. It got a lot of cheers from the audience, definitely.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing everyone. And everyone looks pretty much the same as what they see in the trailer. So if you see the trailer, Captain Marvel's with them already. On the ground, on Earth.
Okay.
Right? So every scene that's on Earth in the trailer, she's supposedly there already.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright. I think that was good.
That was the first one. And then the second one, and we talked about this with Patrick for a bit, and I want to get into it. Kind of, not really, it's 5 minutes.
Okay.
The Tesseract, in the 90s, the Tesseract finds its way to Nick Fury's desk.
Yes.
And then from that point, the events of Avengers will happen.
Yeah. The timeline works out like this. Steve Rogers gets frozen with Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is fished out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably still frozen, but they get the Tesseract back. The
Tesseract comes
back.
before Captain... They fish the Tesseract out before they find Captain America.
Or, well, I guess so. Yeah, well, or before he's awakened. That's for sure. But it's possible he's still in cryogenic state.
No. You have to remember, when they fished out Captain America, Avengers was gonna happen right away, right? And they had already had the Tesseract and were already making like new tech with it, right?
Oh, that's true. I guess they did get the Tesseract first. So
they explain it actually. So like after Steve Rogers awake, they say this is what they found, and then he's like, oh, it's Hydra's secret weapon, and they're like, Howard Stark fished out of the ocean when he was looking for you.
So, okay, what's your gripe about that?
Nothing. It's just I like that they completely almost filled out this Tesseract thing, and I wish they put up as much like lore into the other Infinity Stones as this freaking Tesseract.
They still have a whole. This is like midway through Phase 3, though, so they still have a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what the other movies will be about, because they should be building up to something else that's big. Infinity, as far as I'm concerned, as a Marvel fan, Infinity Gauntlet is the thing that everything builds up to.
Yeah.
For me, it's the single best crossover story in all comics.
And they're doing it pretty well, and we're really excited to see how they do it in Endgame.
10 goddamn years
10
movies.
Of movies. And then you get another Spidey film right after, almost.
So wild. Shazam is gonna have a fucking tough time competing with... Well, actually, no. Shazam is early April. Endgame is end of April. So
yeah.
I guess they'll probably give enough time to breathe. I hope Shazam's good.
Well, Aquaman was pretty good.
Yeah, it's Captain Marvel followed by another Captain Marvel, so I don't know.
Exactly. It's gonna be a year. It's gonna be a great year for superhero movies.
Dude, April alone, I don't know where my money is gonna go down the drain. It's Shazam, Endgame, the next season of Attack on Titan's coming out, Mortal Kombat's coming out in April.
Holy
for
shit.
people playing Adventures League, that's when the Tier 4 modules are coming out. Like, seriously, everything is coming out in April.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Does that
I wish
put
I
things
still...
in perspective?
Bro, how many sick leaves do I have?
If you're Toby's boss and are listening to this, he will actually be sick and not just taking leaves for random shit.
Okay, well, that's pretty much our wrap up. Captain Marvel, 7.5 our average score.
Yeah,
Over
between
10.
About 10. And not sorry, but like we rambled with other movies because like it's impossible to take in a single Marvel movie these days without taking the universe into context.
And you best believe if we make a video on Endgame, we're gonna have to wrap up the whole MCU along with it.
Podcast. No, okay. We do not have video skills right now.
Oh shit, you're right.
But like, yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yep. Have a good one, and hopefully by the time that this gets released, Endgame would have come out and would have totally blown our minds.
Or, you know, our target, hopefully you get to see this at least before you see Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just before.
That's true. All right, well, that's it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
We'll
guys.
see you next time.
Yep, peace out. Bye-bye.